Good morning, everyone. I'm Leuven from KU Leuven's Computational Neuroscience Group. I'm honored to be invited to give this talk about our foundational model approach to the 2025 EEG Foundation Challenge. Today, I will show you not only our computation solutions, but more importantly, our motivations and goals behind this model. First of all, to quickly go through the performance we obtained during this challenge. Our model was the only one that achieved a normalized RMSE smaller than 0.9 in Challenge 1 of the competition, among more than 8,000 submissions from over 1,000 teams. Remark, we didn't use the same model for Challenge 2 due to technical issues on the remote machine. That's using a large model would just lead to timeout during the inference. That's why for today's presentation, I will also only focus on Challenge 1. To start with, I would like to give a quick overview on EEG foundational models. In the past few years, we have seen an explosion of EEG foundational models. Bender, Biot, Labram, EEGPT, ZebraMod, and I believe many more this year. They all use transformer-based self-supervised pre-training, and they claim state-of-art readouts over different datasets. But if you take a closer look, the progress is fragmented. Readouts are hard to reproduce, comparisons are inconsistent, and more importantly, we do not see many actual applications of those models in neuroengineering or neuroscience field beyond those AI conferences. In fact, you still find small models, sometimes even non-neural network models, achieve the state-of-art performance in many downstream domains. Based on those observations, we believe that our community is right now spending enormous compute developing slightly different models on small datasets. That's why we decided to stop that yet another model development and to build a fair, reproducible benchmark to try to call for a better and smarter development path for EEG foundation models, which led to our STEEG former developed a year ago in my lab. As I said in the previous slide, that our motivation is simple: to create a transparent and fair EEG foundational benchmark. STEEG former stands for Spatial Temporal EEG Transformer. It's a vision transformer-based architecture trained with minimal tricks. We emphasize four principles: fairness, simplicity, rigorous validation, and full open source release. Everything, including code and pre-training weights, is right now on GitHub, so anyone can check it, use it, and reproduce our results. In short, our model is less about novelty for novelty's sake and more about establishing a standardized baseline that everyone can trust and build upon. In our latest work, which is currently under double-blind review, we propose a 6-dimension evaluation schemes, including population decoding, per subject decoding, and leave one subject out decoding. They focus on different domains of each decoding, including within subject generalization, transfer learning, and few-shot learning. In this work, we compared classic non-neural networks approach, small neural networks, and foundational models, and tried to answer one simple question: in which scenarios should people use EEG foundation models? As for our proposed STEEG former, it is a very simple VIT-based model using TIMM's VIT backbone architecture. We added temporal projection and channel-wise spatial encodings to it. During pre-training, which is the lower path, we used a very simple MAE masked autoencoder approach to reconstruct EEG signals. And during downstream evaluation, which is the up path, we just add a very simple classification or regression head to its end. This explains our pre-training approaches. MAE, masked autoencoder. In computer vision, MAE-typed transformers have been pre-trained on 1.3 million images for hundreds of epochs using 128 TPUs. The idea is very simple, to let the model reconstruct the masked images. We applied the exactly same philosophy to EEG, using around 8 million 6-second EEG segments from 11 open public datasets and our in-house EEG recordings, trained for about 200 epochs using 16 A100 GPUs on the Flemish Tier 1 HPC cluster. So, this is truly a large-scale EEG pre-training, comparable to ImageNet level vision pre-training. This was done quite a few months ago before the competition for our own research purposes. Here, I would like to show some pre-training results. On the left, you can find the reconstruction training curve. After around 100 epochs, all three variants of our model, small base and large STEG former, gradually converged, and the large model showed the smallest reconstruction loss on both training set and validation set. In the middle and the right panel, you can find the reconstruction examples from the original MAE and our EEG MAE. In our case, white segments are those masked patches, and on the right, the red lines on top of those white lines are what the model reconstructed. One similarity is that after pre-training, both Vision MAE and EEG MAE can reconstruct low-frequency components of the signal quite well. In EEG, it means it can easily follow the trend of the signal, but cannot perfectly construct sudden changes and those peak values. For example, here and here. Here are some selected results from our benchmark study. Just remind that the full paper is not available at this moment, and I only show part of our results. In the first figure, when we compare foundational models, we show that STEG former consistently outperforms existing EEG foundational models, especially the large model. In the meantime, fine-tuning always improves over linear probing, and our large variant, about 300 million parameters one, achieved the best accuracy overall. If we take a closer look at different evaluation dimensions I mentioned a few slides ago, we also see that all linear probed foundation models represented by those purple lines cannot even compete with those green small neural network models. It's only after you fine-tune those foundation models you can get a comparable performance or sometimes better performance, especially our large variant, which is the most outside area. I don't want to spend too much time here because this study is not published at this moment, but I think the displayed results from this study can motivate why we choose to use this large variant during the computation. Now it's time to move to the actual computation. Actually, the story is much simpler. We had the following steps. Firstly, we further pre-trained our STEG format large on the HBN dataset, using about 8 million epochs of EEG filtered between 0.5 to 50 Hz, downsampled to 100 Hz, standardized per channel to kind of align to the actual data we will get during the computation. Since the model was designed for 128 Hz, we upsampled from 100 Hz to 128 Hz during training. As you can see in this figure, after around 10 epochs, the loss already converged and we stopped here. Then we performed fine-tuning on the actual Challenge 1 data. In our local development environment, we split 90% subjects from release 1 to 11 into our training set and used the remaining 10% as our validation set. We also used the same normalized RMSE as our model evaluation metric. In this challenge, what we found extremely crucial is the model fine-tuning strategies. More specifically, we tried full, partial, and LoRa-based fine-tuning. As you can see in those training curves, the full and partial fine-tuning, represented by the first two columns. They all lead to serious overfitting issues, and the normalized RMSE we could get with the two strategies were around 0.95. After that, it just went up. And when we adopted a LoRa fine-tuning approach, we can easily get our validation loss below 0.9. The takeaway here is that LoRa achieves better performance than full fine-tuning. It is a very attractive for us because we often encountered limited data scenarios. To conclude, EEG foundation models are very interesting to me, and I think right now it's time to ask deeper questions, such as what exactly do those models learn during pre-training? Are the representations neurophysiologically meaningful? How about scaling? Does scaling data and compute affect transferability across paradigms? And how do we move from benchmark success to real-world BCI and clinical applications? In the end, I would like to thank the Flemish Supercomputer Center, VSC. In this project, we used around 20,000 GPU hours for the initial pre-training and 700 more for the further training on the HBN dataset. And we would like to provide a different perspective on the EEG foundational model research here. If we look at the numbers, our experiments consumed about 6,000 kilowatt hours, which is about the annual electricity use of 2 Leuven households, or enough to boil about 10,000 liters of water. This raises a critical question for the field. With so much energy and computation poured into yet another EEG foundation model, what is the collective return? Instead of a model race, I believe we should build a shared, standardized ecosystem using common datasets, unified evaluation metrics, and transparent baselines that will truly advance EEG decoding in the future. I also believe what I just mentioned is precisely the direction that this 2025 EEG Foundational Model Challenge promotes. Finally, I would like to thank you for your attention. If you are interested in EEG foundational models or our BCI research, please connect with me on LinkedIn or follow our lab for updates. You will also get updates on my new paper if you are interested in it. I'm very open to any potential future collaborations on this topic, so please reach out to me if you have any interesting research ideas or you have any questions regarding my presentation. Again, thank you all, and let's push the boundary of EEG decoding together. Hope you have a nice day, and bye-bye.